AfriForum and Solidarity seek U.S. support amid controversies over farm murders and land policies in South Africa. Leaders from AfriForum and Solidarity, representing minority groups in South Africa, recently ventured to Washington, D.C., to implore the Trump administration to maintain pressure on the South African government regarding concerns over farm murders and perceived racial discrimination. This move comes amidst ongoing debates regarding the actual incidence of farm murders and the implications of land expropriation policies in South Africa. The delegation, including key figures such as AfriForum CEO Callie Creel and Solidarity's chairperson Flip Buys, aim to highlight what they perceive as targeted violence and legislative biases against Afrikaners and other minorities. They cited the recent statistics released by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, which registered 12 farm murders out of a total of 6,953 recorded murders in the last quarter, to argue that these communities are disproportionately affected by violence. Additionally, the groups addressed concerns related to South Africa's land expropriation legislation. Despite claims of arbitrary land grabs, the legislation stipulates that any expropriation must serve a public purpose or interest and requires negotiation efforts prior to any action. This part of the law aims to balance public needs while protecting property rights, as reinforced by a 2020 legal ruling against unlawful property occupation in Cape Town. In response to these domestic issues, AfriForum and Solidarity are evaluating an offer from President Trump for potential resettlement in the United States, underlining the plan as a part of wider humanitarian and refugee admission programs. However, they expressed a preference for the majority of Afrikaners to remain in South Africa, seeking instead to establish safer living conditions and community support systems locally. Their proposed solutions include the creation of an Afrikaner Development Fund to bolster community infrastructure and ensure protections for minorities. They also urged American policymakers to label farm murders as a priority crime and provide targeted aid to assist those affected directly by violence and alleged discrimination. The memorandum presented in the U.S. also called for revising the Bella Act and other laws deemed racially discriminatory, suggesting that pressure should focus on the ANC government rather than the broader South African state. This stems from their claims that national security policies under the current South African administration pose indirect threats to U.S. interests as well. Back in South Africa, the political and diplomatic repercussions of this advocacy are unfolding, with tensions between the government and these minority rights groups escalating. Charges of treason have been filed against the groups, accusing them of undermining South Africa's diplomatic standing, particularly with the United States. As this situation develops, the international community watches closely, monitoring the balance between domestic policy enforcement in South Africa and international diplomatic relations, especially concerning human rights and minority protections. Thank you for choosing Satori News.